already got that 5-minute video there, so I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want right now. You gotta have adaptive and maladaptive. So there's adaptive and maladaptive coping mechanisms. This is a maladaptive one. You can't run from your problems, and you shouldn't run from people that challenge you. We need people to challenge ourselves and hold each other accountable, especially in a relationship. And it's just like a fine instrument, as far as I'm concerned. You have to treat your partner very carefully and very gently, especially if you're a threatening man or a very strong man. I know that I can look very scary and very intimidating to people, but it's done on purpose as per other people's recommendations. And you could lose yourself in a relationship, like you can a song or the creative process, in other people's problems. And it's very difficult to come back from that. Especially if you're, I'm gonna say even from a professional standpoint, you run into someone and they have unresolved issues that you don't quite understand how to deal with, and they won't listen to you, because they're stuck in a feedback loop that is the addiction, to a stimuli. And the same thing can happen for propaganda, because that becomes also a stimuli in itself. And it's intoxicating. I've said this before. It's very easy to shape and mold young minds, which is why I'm very nervous having military training and having been around people that are rather vulnerable. Because if you look at the example of the Tiger King, where he goes to the gas station and he talks to the person. He says, "Hey, you want to work with tigers?" or something like that. And they're out, down and out, and that's a manipulative tactic. Because they're just trying to look for a way out of their situation, out of the cycle of poverty. And the only way to really get out of the cycle of poverty is to get out of the mental state, out of the victimhood mentality, or trying to blame other people and not taking accountability for our own problems, our own actions day to day, and not enacting upon the principles and the idealisms that we've been taught by elder people, or by our very own education system. Because as a young person, you want to fight the power. You want to take on the issues of the day, or the problems of the day. But there's, as the phrase goes, if you live long enough, you end up becoming what you hated. You end up becoming the authority, and you start to understand a little bit more and more clearly why certain traditions and rules are in place. Because people are not people do not behave in a manner according to what's good and evil. They act according to an evaluation based upon a stress assessment. So the fight, flight, or freeze response, and depending on their upbringings. So again, I learned a lot of this from my own counseling. In times when I was very much depressed, and I couldn't handle the failure, or I couldn't handle the fact that there was pedophilia in certain organizations, or I couldn't handle the fact that certain sectors of the population, certain demographics, let's just say like gay people and so forth, which I have a democratic and diplomatic relationship with. It's in my history. You can't go and talk to anybody that I've been with. It's straight up and down. But as a victim of sexual assault myself, I know that's hard to say and hard to believe, because who the hell is going to believe a man when he says that he's been assaulted by another man? It's very hard to deal with. Because when you're a creative person, that allows you and opens up yourself to being vulnerable, especially as a man. The softer side, being a creative person isn't what you think it is. The same with intelligence. It's very hard, because everybody wants and hates and wants to hate, and then loves to hate the fact that you have an advantage over them, because when we're younger, it's more of a popularity contest than anything else. But things change over time, and true skill, is what wins over every time. The effervescence of truth in itself, the idealism of truth. Objectively, not subjectively. Subjectively is a terrible road to go down, and that's like in the postmodern idealism. And I'm gonna just stop here and separate into another video where I'm just playing, because you make the choice as to whether or not you want to listen to me ramble or gamble.